Hi guys, so my name's Journey Delora. My presentation is over Miranda rights and custodial interrogation. So what is Miranda rights and custodial interrogation? So Miranda rights are the constitutional warnings that police officials must give before questioning or detaining someone who will be in custody. Miranda v. Arizona in 1966 is when the court found that custodial interrogation inherently involves coercion. So police officials must provide safeguards to protect the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. Custodial interrogation is a legal term for when police question someone who is in custody about a crime, triggering the need for Miranda rights, right to remain silent, and right to an attorney under the Fifth Amendment. So those are just some definitions for you. And then I have a bunch of legal concepts to go over. So the Fifth Amendment is privilege against self-incrimination. So what that is Miranda rights arise from the Fifth Amendment, which protects individuals being compelled to incriminate themselves during police questioning. So it basically just protects you from incriminating yourself. So what is Miranda warning requirements? The Miranda warning requirements are: you have the right to remain silent. Anything said can be used against you in the court of law. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, an attorney will be provided. Express questioning is direct questions intended to elicit incriminating responses. Functional equivalent is words or actions police should know are reasonably elicit an incriminating response. Public safety exception is police may ask questions without Miranda warning if necessary to protect public or officer safety. The exclusionary rule in fruit of poisonous tree are statements obtained in violation of Miranda that can be suppressed. The Sixth Amendment is your right to counsel, post-charge. Spontaneous or volunteered statements are statements that are prompted by interrogation that are admissible even without Miranda warnings. A booking exception is the routine administrative questions like your name, address, date of birth, and they don't count as interrogation questions and don't require Miranda warnings. A waiver of your Miranda rights is when a suspect can waive Miranda rights, but the waiver must be knowing, intelligent, voluntary, so that the police can carry the burden of providing a valid waiver. So the police have to prove that you're waiving your rights. The voluntarilist doctrine are statements that must be made voluntarily, not the product of coercion, threats, promises, or psychological pressure. The involuntary statements violate due process under the 14th Amendment. Some legal terms are custody, where a reasonable person would not feel free to leave and triggers the need for Miranda warnings. Interrogation is express questioning or its functional equivalent, police behavior likely to elicit an incriminating response. Miranda warnings are the constitutional advisements required before custodial interrogation. Self-incrimination is the act of providing information that could be used against yourself, which is protected under the Fifth Amendment. A waiver is a suspect's decision to relinquish their Miranda rights, and they must be, again, knowing, intelligent, and voluntary. Invocation is a suspect's clear assertion of either the right to remain silent or the right to a counsel. Coercion is pressure, physical or psychological force that overbears the suspect's will, which makes statements inadmissible. The Due Process Clause is under the 14th Amendment protection, which is applied to ensure fairness in obtaining statements. The exclusionary rule is a legal doctrine suppressing evidence obtained in the violation of constitutional rights. The fruit of a poisonous tree is evidence derived from an unlawful interrogation which can be excluded. And then procedural safeguards are Miranda's protective mechanisms ensuring that constitutional rights are held during police questioning. Now I'm going to go over a few cases that relate to my question or my topic of Miranda rights. So, constitutional entrenchment of Miranda is the court that held the Miranda v. Arizona, announcing a constitutional rule that Congress cannot overrule by this statute. Judicial authority over constitutional interpretation is the decision reaffirmed that the Supreme Court, not Congress, has the final authority to interpret constitutional protections in criminal procedure. Then the admissibility of confessions under the Fifth Amendment in Dickerson reinforced that unwarranted custodial statements violate the Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and therefore are inadmissible. My next case is Rhode Island v. Innis. Interrogation is the court expanded interrogation to include only express questioning, but also the functional equivalents. Police conduct reasonably like to explicit an incriminating response. So that's when they're trying to get you to incriminate yourself. Objective standard police conduct is determining interrogation depends on what officers should have known, not their subject intent, but adopting an objective foreseeability test. So their determining interrogation isn't objective or not subjective, it has to be objective. Miranda's scope beyond direct questions is the case that clarified subtle forms of psychological prompting that may trigger Miranda protections even when formal questioning has not occurred. The last case is Stansbury v. California. The objective test for custody. Custody hinges on whether a reasonable person in the suspect's position would feel deprived of freedom to a degree associated with formal arrest. A relevance of officers' hidden beliefs is the court held that an officer's uncommunicated suspicions or beliefs about a suspect's guilt do not determine custody. What matters is how the circumstances would appear to the suspect. Now, custodial status determined by circumstances, not labels. Statements by police to suspect's location and the conditions of questioning, not the officer's internal views, define whether the situation is custodial for Miranda purposes. All right. Well, that's all. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learn more about Miranda rights and custodial interrogation. Thank you.